Taking a minute. Hello, writing Rabble. It's your rabble rouser author Chris Everhart, back with another session for new writers who want to learn how to write stories, and for experienced writers who just maybe like me looking for a different way to look at story. It's a great place to be if you want to learn how to outline a novel in kind of maybe a peculiar way, but one that seems to work for me. You're in the right place. And we also have my co-host and student, Wes. How's it going, Wes?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Pretty mellow day at home, so it's kind of
Good.
nice.
Yeah.
So let's see. It's been like 3 weeks or so since we've done a episode. We did have um, one whiteboard session here in my office in between, and hopefully that got the story moving a little bit for you. So why don't you update us on how things are going?
Yeah. So I've been working on just drawing story hills in my notebook. Got a couple of them now. I think this morning finally arrived at one that I like. And I've just been trying to make sure that it always comes back to central conflict and kind of using that as the lodestone or the key or the linchpin or whatever the metaphor is, so that if there's ever a question or I just need everything to sort of come back to that and to simplify it. And I think that's what I've been doing a lot of, is just simplifying and making sure that if it doesn't have anything to do with the central conflict, then it needs to go. So yeah, I think I have something here. I think I'm in that phase where I'm overthinking, which is very easy for me to do.
Yeah,
And
join the club.
yeah, and I just am, and when I get into these modes, I either need to just like go or throw it away or some other, I'll overthink four more things that I should do. But I honestly am like, I think I just need to start writing again. Like,
Okay.
you know, like I'm, and if you'd have told me that writing was going to be this much outlining, I would have told you to go. But it it's going to be helpful. It already is helpful. Like it's what I need. It's the structure that I need, and I yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it just makes me uncomfortable. And usually, lately, things that make me uncomfortable are probably good for me. So
That's good to know. Well, I'm just glad I could help.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. So I'm going to pull up quickly the some of the whiteboard work we did, just so you can see. And this is kind of how we got through I think, three iterations of the Story Hill, and how this kind of looks looks like an organized plate of spaghetti.
Yeah,
But this is how we get on our feet and get the story on its feet, literally, and actually talk through it. So, um,
and you'll
um,
notice sections that are more blank, and
uh-huh,
those are like the sections that we couldn't figure out.
yep,
So it felt like if we got one side, then the other side was off, and it was just kind of like trying to mold this thing and make all parts equal. And that's yeah,
yep. Yeah, that's part of the challenge. And one of the things I said when you were here was, now do you see why good writers get paid a lot to do what they do?
yeah,
Yeah, because it's not easy.
no,
And I wonder if when I've had writing success in the past, if I was just getting lucky, with my whatever my process was at that time. And, if I was doing something on deadline in particular, I didn't have time to overthink it. So that can
yeah,
be a good thing too.
yeah,
But what what I was just thinking about earlier today as I'm working on one of my newer books is, um, I'm thinking about how and when this might become intuitive so that I don't have to overthink it.
Mm,
Um, so I hope I'm moving in that direction, and hopefully you are too. Not that you won't want to do an outline, that you want to just sit down and start blowing through a story, but that you hopefully start to think about story in these stages,
yeah,
so that as soon as you start with an idea, you start asking yourself the questions in the order that helps you actually develop it as a story, a full,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a complete story. So hopefully we're moving in that direction for both of us, because like I said before, in our earlier episodes, I'm like, this, what you're seeing or what we're using for um, the story hill, all of these things aren't even intuitive for me yet. So
Yeah,
just keep that in mind, because I'm sort of learning at the same time. And having you want to start a story and get, from the first chapter one through the end has just forced me to start thinking about what I do in a more organized way and actually write it down. So hopefully this is helping you, me, and everybody who's watching the Writing Rabble.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a complete structure. It's not just a. I was so used to just getting a writing prompt, a quirky idea, and then just sort of going with it. But there's no structure to that. So no, this is good.
Yeah. And some people like doing it that way. For me, it gets um for me I don't love the just pantsing it, because I, I I can't stand the idea of wasting a lot of time
Yeah,
going through all whatever is intuitive, just writing, and then having to go back and organize it and throw out a lot of stuff.
yeah,
Uh, so that's hopefully it's a process that not only makes us better storytellers, but also more efficient writers.
yeah.
So, okay, do you want to? Should you want to bring up? I can bring up the Story Hill if you want to use that as a reference as we walk through what you've got. Talk it through, or you can just talk it through. Doesn't Which do you have a preference?
Um, doesn't matter. Whatever you think would be better.
All right. Well, let's give the viewers a break from having to look at our faces,
Agreed.
and so we'll bring up the Story Hill. Okay. So get us started on where you're at now compared to maybe where you were before. What you've got.
All right. So what I have so far is the same ordinary world where Russ is lucky. Russ has a privileged life. But this part is going to be a lot shorter because it's not that interesting to witness Russ's perfect world. I just need to set this sort of contrast so that I have something to work against later because it's going to go it's going to go bad quick.
Good.
So the the new iteration, which you helped me with a ton, and I think a lot of this was your idea, was that Russ's dad is going to die, and there's going to be a missed ritual that was supposed to be performed that would have helped Russ secure his luck for a lot longer. And I'm still working on the mythology of what that means and some rules there, but his dad dies, his luck leaves him, and right away Russ is broke, he's destitute, he's unlucky. Everything that he was going for, that he was working towards, his real estate business, his legacy is either at is either in jeopardy or it's gone. It's being flushed down the toilet, and he's watching it all sort of go away. So right away he's scrambling and he's desperate, and we're gonna spend the so that would be like the inciting incident, and we're gonna work up into the next section where he is trying to get something back. He's trying to get something back going again. He's trying to get his luck back.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we talked about was, we didn't have this conclusion until later after I thought about it for 3 or 4 days. And the only thing that kept coming back to me about what was really holding us up, because I remember we ended our whiteboard session saying there's something we're missing,
Yeah,
and then we checked it against, some outlining and synopsis resources, and we had everything, but there was something wrong that we weren't putting our finger on. And then the only thing I could think of after a few days that kept coming up was that rather than having Russ lose a genie that had been
yes,
inhabiting him, Russ
yes,
is the genie.
yes. I should say
Yeah.
that right off the bat. Russ is the genie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Uh,
no, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I was going to say that the idea is that, or I don't even know if we got this far with developing the idea that I mentioned that um, his father, who he's estranged from, managed to keep him out of this genie life
Yes,
by uh, as long as he was alive, he could keep a spell going that would allow Russ to be lucky and prosperous.
yes,
But as soon as he dies, now that's not, you know, now Russ has missed that turning point for his, for the luck economy,
yeah,
and now stuff starts falling apart with no explanation,
yep,
or no early explanation anyway.
yeah.
Okay, good.
So, and then that leads sort of, I guess I should say too, that the central conflict that I'm working with now is a basic sort of good versus evil. It's a character versus self idea that Russ is tempted by the allure of the evil, bad sort of luck, which is easier to get,
Hmm.
but at what cost? And it is shorter lived, but it's more powerful. So
Right.
he's going to be tempted by that, and that's the kind of basis that I want everything to come back to, and the central main equation, or solution that everything needs to come back to. So
Nice.
uh, so then going up through the challenges of learning is going to be Russ meeting some quote unquote allies in the form of Bob and Bill, who are seemingly helping him, but are really just introducing him into that evil sort of luck and that bad those shortcuts that are they're helping Russ get some stuff back, but at what cost? Um and it's detrimental. He's just not realizing yet because he's so desperate.
Yeah, and they're getting something out of it as well.
Yes.
That he doesn't know. He may not fully understand what magic he's been working with,
Yep.
right? Sort of like how Darth Vader was trying to get Luke Skywalker into the Sith,
Yeah.
rather than let Obi-Wan bring him in as into the Jedi priesthood.
Right.
Yep.
So he is becoming a harvester on this side of the equation, and he's learning the ropes of that. We're going into the underworld. We're seeing the hidden ways that people farm luck. There's different emotions that produce different sorts of luck, so that depending on where you go or what you witness, or that'll determine what kind of flavor you're getting, and there'll be consequences to all of that.
Nice.
um, which leads us to the goal change. And I can't get away from this bus crash, so it's back in. I don't, but it's this orphan bus crash, so it's a whole mess of buses with kids on it, and Bob and Bill are there because this is a great source of sorrow luck.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
this is bad news luck that they're getting out of it because the children are suffering. Meanwhile, Patchouli, Frank, and Tristan and these other people are there, and they're getting on the other side, they're getting the good sort of luck because they're helping out. So he's
Okay.
got kind of like two warring, and it's mirroring back to that central conflict of good versus evil.
Yep.
And
Light side, dark side.
yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Nice.
And Russ witnesses this, and in this moment, he realizes, at what cost. And this is horrible. I can't believe I was going along with these guys. And now we're going to go on the other side. He's allied himself with the good, and now he's fighting the bad. Um, so then we get into he went from being a harvester to now trying to destroy the harvesters, the bad harvesters. So he's now fighting his former allies, quote unquote. He is teaming up in a way with Frank and Tristan, but he's not accepting their help yet. He's still trying
Right.
to.
Yeah. So what often happens in stories here is that he's trying to make the change, but the good guys don't believe him. They don't
Yes,
trust him. Yep.
yes, exactly. So he's still in this mode. I don't need help. I can still do this on my own. You know. So then we get into the all is lost, the false victory point where Bill's the sort of legacy building that he was trying to do with the building that he was trying to build. It's revealed that this is going to be like and again, another one of your great ideas, the orphan farm, where this whole building complex, apartment complex, will be just a place where they'll be farming kids for their bad luck, but on a more permanent, long-term basis. So, and this is where I'm struggling because I don't know where to make the big reveal. Is the big reveal that he's the genie? Does it happen here or does it happen at the climax? I have it happening at the climax, but I'd be interested to hear what you think about that. So at the all is lost point, Russ is now being farmed somehow, and that's when everything kind of goes to the worst point. Um, and then getting into the climax, it's revealed that Russ is a genie. He can fight off the harvesters by doing the ritual that he was supposed to do way back in the beginning. There's going to be a reveal where it's like his dad versus his mom. His dad was, I had to abandon him to go to the Peace Corps or something like that to continue getting all of the sort of good luck that he was imbuing with Russ through these rituals, versus his mom, who was sort of on the other side of it, who was sort of in like a wealth management, sort of like taking advantage of people type of role. So I have more of that good versus evil there. Maybe that's a little convoluted, but I kind of like having everything sort of mirror that central conflict.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this the other day after you mentioned the mirror thing, is that I think you might be leaning on that a little hard right now. Um, and
Okay.
we can use that later as a tool to, figure out, make adjustments,
Okay.
right? So right now you're on a really good arc, no pun intended, with developing your story.
Okay.
And it does. I mean, it feels tighter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, now we've got some definite good good versus evil vibes, and that both it will sort of come up or express its own um, scenes and conflicts, little conflicts in between, right? So it kind of having that tightened up actually feels like it's like there's more possibility
Yeah.
with the story than less. So
Yeah.
when things are confusing, everything seems like a dead end.
Yeah.
But when you have this central conflict and these important things tightened up, now it's like, oh, okay, it's starting to make, sort of, it's more balanced. It starts to, the the wheel, so to speak, spins a little much easier on the hub.
Yes,
To bring
absolutely.
in another analogy.
Yeah,
Okay. So one of the things we talked about too was the idea that uh, the first part of the story, Russ is putting together some huge deal, development deal or something like that, and he's got
yep,
everything riding on it, right?
yep, yep,
Yeah. So when that starts to fall apart, he's like, he can't believe it because this has never happened before.
yep,
Okay, gotcha. Um, and he's estranged from his dad, right?
yep,
Okay, and Patchouli Frank is the one who is sort of delivers the message that his father has died.
yep,
Okay, gotcha. Um, and then so Patchouli Frank will start to or try to explain about the magic system and that kind of thing, but he doesn't want to hear it,
yep,
right? Um, all a bunch of silly superstition and whatnot.
right.
Okay. All right. Let me think a little bit more too. All right. So, in his desperation, in Russ's desperation to get his project back on track, when he's contacted by Bob,
Yep,
who can help him with the easy money, so to speak, to get things back together.
yep,
But each of these things that they have to do together is it's kind of shady, you know.
right. Yep,
Okay, got it. All right. And then um at the goal change you have the bus crash, and the bus crash is the point where he sees the shadiness of this other world, right?
right.
Okay. And what changes for him in his thinking at that time? Do we know yet?
The direct, he's seeing the direct consequences. It's laid bare to him. Up to this point, the victims, quote unquote, had been nameless or at a distance and not kids. So up until this point, he hadn't seen the full implications, the full consequences of it.
Okay.
So his desperation is now colliding with his sense of good and his not wanting to see kids get hurt. And maybe there's something in there where he sees a kid that looks like him as a kid or something like that. What
Uh-huh.
wearing a coat that he used to wear, maybe, or maybe one of the kids looks like his son or something like that. So it sort of becomes way more real for him at that point.
Okay. And then after that, what is the new goal or direction?
To destroy the people that are taking advantage of these situations.
Okay. All right. So walk me through that, which would be phase 4 on our story hill.
Yes.
Walk me through, in general, what does that look like? What actions would he take against whom?
He tries to destroy one of the like bad luck repositories, which is like those spa type places.
Hmm.
There could be like a belly of the whale situation there. He's finding more and more good allies in Patchouli Frank and the Gen Z. Oh, excuse me, kid. And he's learning that there's other better, pure ways to find this luck. He's being attacked by Bill and Bob's henchmen who are trying to harry him at any point, at every point. Um, yeah, stuff like that.
Okay.
The building is still getting built, but now he's in this position where he has these allies or these partners that he can't stand, so he's trying to get rid of them.
Right.
But up until this point, they have maybe staked him with too much money or too many contracts that he's signed in desperation. So now he's sort of stuck with them, but he's trying to turn it around however he can.
Okay. And then what happens at the 75% mark, which is the antagonist wins, has
Yeah,
the antagonist has their win.
that would be the true nature of the building is revealed to be this. It's an orphanage, but it's actually a luck farming orphanage. It's not actually a good thing. And
Right.
Bill has been duping him this whole time, and it's a horrible, horrible place. And Russ needs to destroy his legacy, his building with his name on it to do the right thing in the end.
Okay. And then there's the crisis phase up to 90%.
Yeah. So he would awaken as a genie. His true power would come out. I'm a little thin on this point,
Yeah.
but this is where I would have the reveal. This is where he would come into his own, realize his power, or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So something's not working there.
Yeah.
Um, and okay. I think you might be right about the bus crash being in the wrong place. That it seems like maybe that being at the turning point, the goal change point at
Yeah.
50% might not be right.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, because uh, that would trigger a low point for him,
Yeah.
realizing that he's with this crowd that um is really siphoning people's good fortune.
Yeah.
And now it's in the person of these orphans. Um, but then what does that do with our goal change?
Yeah.
So we go ordinary world. The call to adventure is Patchouli Frank comes and tells him that his father has died, and that next to 15% pressure is refusal to call and pressure to change. So, um, and then the inciting incident could be something like his whole project is threatened. Um, I don't know what feels like it's missing. Do you have any thoughts about that?
The stakes of the bus crash are pretty high. So the stakes for the climax in that section would need to be higher. And there's also a ticking clock that's missing too, that
Okay.
we need some sort of um, thing on the horizon that we're working towards, whether that's the building being completed or it needs to be completed by a certain time to get, I don't know, this financing or something like that. But
Oh. Hmm. Yeah, what I'm missing is that, there's a lot of action throughout the story.
yeah,
Um, and you know what? My brain's a little fuzzy again today, and I didn't. We were going to do this last Monday, but this time of year, allergies is pretty. What I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
yeah,
Is that allergies make it's almost like I have the flu.
Yeah.
Seriously. And I forgot to take the second allergy medication today, so I'm
Oh
kind of
crap.
getting kind of fuzzy again. But okay, so all right, so okay, so first part of the story, Russ's whole project that he's got all his money tied up in
Yeah.
starts going to hell,
Right.
and Russ is offered a way to um,
To salvage it
yeah,
to
well, he's offered a way to acquire the luck he would need to make the project work, right?
hmm
Okay. So Bob is taking him through these paces, these different experiences that he didn't know existed, right?
Yep.
Okay. And Bob is saying, "Hey, um I can help you get this get the money you need and get your project back on track." All right. But at the same time, so what are the new skills or new perspective that um, Russ is getting out of this first half of the journey?
It's the different types of luck from different types of scenarios or sources,
Okay.
different emotions
All
or
right. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. So when Frank shows up and tells him that his father has died and kind of explains to him about this luck economy
yeah,
and how his father had been supporting him all this time, uh, to keep either because basically to keep him out of this life, which has a really dark side, right?
yeah,
Um, Russ may not know that he may not understand that his father was working on the light side.
yeah,
So when so Bob, um, so what if Bill offers to take over this huge project and save Russ's butt? And so that the ticking clock is on that. All right. I'm just thinking this through. So just talking it out.
yep,
Um, but the whole time, Russ is really being fooled that because Bob works for Bill.
yeah,
All right. So let me think. And okay, so so Russ may not understand in this third phase that everything Bob is showing him is actually kind of evil,
yep,
right? So every time Frank tries to get in touch with Russ, uh, he doesn't want to talk to Frank because he thinks that Frank is on the bad side. You following me?
yeah. I had another idea. Go
Okay.
for it.
What was
No,
that?
I'm following you. Go ahead.
Um, all right. So the first half, Russ is he's trying to get the power that he needs to pull this project off.
And he for some reason trusts Bill, but he
Trust
doesn't trust
Bob.
Frank. Yeah, he doesn't trust Frank though,
Right.
even though Frank is trying to help him, truly trying to
Yeah.
help him.
Right.
Yeah,
Frank's a good guy.
right.
Okay. Bob is filling his head full of bullshit
Yeah,
and showing him evil stuff, and he does get these hits of luck that he needs to pull off this part of the deal or this negotiation or that permit or something like that, right?
yep, yep,
Okay. All right. So, okay, and then so Sheltered World win before the 50% mark might be that Russ gets the green light on the project.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How about if Bill has Bill steps in at that 25% mark at the inciting incident and offers to go partners with him,
Yeah.
and Bob, my main man, is going to walk you through how to get it. It's going to
Yeah.
be pretty quirky, but whatever. So he gets a Sheltered World win where he gets the green light on the project. He's happy. Everybody's happy. Something changes at that moment, and the whole apparatus of the story turns into a new and related goal. So, yeah, why is this storytelling stuff so hard sometimes? Um, I keep thinking about Star Wars and that really stark moment at 50% where they get the princess and then now they need to get out of the Death Star.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really chaotic trying to get out of there. Um, so it's almost like this whole fourth phase, between 50% and 75% is just turned into a montage in my mind.
Yeah.
Um, but the to kind of get them right to the low point. Okay, so let's say we put that bus crash at that 50% mark.
Yep.
Okay. Uh, it's revealed to Russ how Bill and Bob are on the evil side.
Yep.
What then must Russ do in the next phase? Right. So he's trying to get his project together, trying to make
Yep.
this work. I'm failing to to find a challenge. So what is missing? God. All right. So call to adventure, inciting incident.
Well, maybe the genie reveal is at the 50% mark point, and now he's trying to master this new power,
Okay.
and he's been filled up with so far bad energy, and his power is out of control and reckless.
Well, I mean, what would have to happen in that third phase? I mean, in that fourth phase, then is the good guys would be wanting to come after Russ to stop him.
Yeah, and turn him back, steer him on the right path.
Which he might not see it that way, right? Obviously.
Right. But he might,
And
after the goal change, he might see the true cost of what that luck has been producing thus far.
well, and this is the thing is I think that he's that would happen at that 75% mark. That it would all be made obvious to him how.
So the goal change is too definitive right now. It needs to be a little more
Well, I
murky.
like what you just said was that he learns that he's the genie. or he is a powerful genie
Yeah.
from by inheritance, right?
Right.
Um, so okay, so let me think. All right, so he works through. When he wants to gold change, he learns that he's the powerful genie. Well, let's see. Maybe learning that he's a powerful genie now, he really takes control of everything.
Maybe he's the reason for the bus crash. Maybe his power goes ape, goes off, and he causes this horrible accident, and then he has this huge moment of guilt where he realizes what he's done and the implications of what all that luck energy's been filling him up with has been, like bad energy leads to explosions and horrible
Uh
things
huh. Right.
on, nuclear level stuff. And he now is trying to fill his quote unquote tank up with the good energy from now on,
Mm-hmm.
but he's been labeled as this horrible demon, this evil guy. He's a pariah. His legacy's now, his project has been taken over completely by Bill and Bob. So now he's trying to get everything back. Maybe
In what phase?
fourth
He's trying to
phase
get
when the
everything
the
back. Phase
rest from the
four.
goal change on. Yeah,
Okay. Hmm. So at 90% is true mastery skills plus wisdom. Sufficient world self. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to imagine what minor catastrophes, right, or challenges he will have to face um, in each of these phases up to the major catastrophe
yeah.
that happens at the end of the crisis phase at 90%. Um, uh, so I like the start where he's, everything's great. Then suddenly things, he gets news that his dad died. Um, things start to kind of fall apart. Um, and he's trying to keep it all together or rebuild or replace what he's losing. Uh, and so the thing is that uh, it's kind of like what I'm thinking right now is that when there's something to chase, right,
Yeah.
that it makes it easier to tell the story. And I'm wondering if the part of the problem is that there's nothing to chase.
What if? Okay, here's something.
Uh huh.
What if the ritual that needed to be performed that was missed sort of unlocked Russ, and now he's just like this free agent, and he can turn any which way now. His dad was keeping him sort of subdued, but in a light phase, in a good phase. Um, Now Russ has 6 months to figure out what he's going to become next, and what he does in those 6 months will determine the sort of next phase of genie that he becomes, and that gets locked in for X amount of years or something like that. Like there's another ritual that's going to happen,
Yeah.
so it's sort of chasing I guess he's chasing a series of behaviors that will determine what he's going to become.
Yeah, and what is he fighting? What is he fighting against, or who along the way?
Bill and Bob realize what he is. They know what he is before he does.
Uh huh.
And they're trying to fill him up so that they can lay claim to him and enslave him as their sort of perpetual luck battery of negative crap for the next whatever, however long that mythology states, you know.
Okay. Let's see. Um. Yeah, I like that idea. Um. And yeah, I like the idea that there's stuff that he has to do. So or else, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Basically.
yeah,
Yeah. So maybe all the power he's getting, or all the luck he's getting, and the power and the choices that he's getting from Bob, all along the way, turn out to be that Bob and Bill are pointing Russ at making a choice that is going to lock his power to the evil side.
yes, yeah,
Frank and Tristan are trying to get to Russ to explain to him that, his dad was on the good side, and you need to do the thing, the ritual or whatever that's going to lock you to the good side.
right.
Okay. Yeah, that then there's something. Yeah, now there's something. There's a ticking clock. There's a thing that has to be done. A thing that is sort of tangible,
Yeah,
right?
and Russ is kind of an asshole to begin with. So this is all feels like there's no way he's going to be able to do this. He's kind of a bad guy, and maybe
Okay.
his ordinary world is that it's perfect, but he's just an asshole to everyone.
Yeah, and the
So,
comedy and the relatability is that things, quote, should be easier all
yeah,
you know all along the way, and then at that 75% mark, he learns that no, things aren't easy.
yes, yes,
He's just been living on luck that his father, basically, uh, um, uh, what's the word, gifted to him
right,
for all this time.
yeah.
Okay, all right, there we
And
go.
then he's the climax is that he's staring at his battery or his the scales of his actions, and he's got 99% bad. And if he does one more thing,
Ah,
he's locked in. And then he makes some ultimate sacrifice, which somehow cancels everything out. And like this one giant true act of selflessness
mm-hmm.
ends up turning him, at the very last moment into the good, onto the good side, into the red or whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe,
That feels a lot
maybe he
better.
like holds up the building while it's collapsing and all the kids get out or something like
Oh yeah, yeah, nice. I like that. Um, Regarding the orphans, the orphanage again. Okay, one of the things that we talked about before was the idea that Russ is trying to get this big, like, office complex built, right?
Yeah,
It's going to be his thing. But at the end, he, so the epilogue is that he's had to destroy the building that he was building in order to really beat Bill.
yeah,
And then that epilogue is that he's building an orphanage where the kids can be safe,
yeah,
right? So I think the orphans still factor in.
yeah.
Uh, okay, all right. Do you think you have enough to arrange and rearrange until you got a solid outline?
Yeah,
Okay, because I think the parts are there. I just need to see. And by the way, you don't need me to, you know, give you permission to start pick it up and start writing on it. We just want to kind of um, make sure you know where you're going
yeah,
as you get started. Some of these things might reveal themselves along the way.
yeah,
Um, but I think that the parts are there.
yeah,
We just want to make them sure that as you go along, you are putting them in the right place.
right.
Okay. So I think you have enough to get started. What about you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that fourth phase is a little,
Yeah.
but I think I can figure something else out.
Well, and it
Yeah,
might just come out in the writing, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I think the pieces are there, and kind of what we're doing right now is just sort of, beating the dead llama, as it were.
Yeah,
And really, like you said earlier, overthinking it. Um, just and kind of like what In addition to these things, I'm trying to make these things more in, intuitive.
yeah,
I'm also trying to work out a way in my head so that it starts simple and stays simple, right?
yeah,
Because there's so many. I mean, the mind is so elastic that you can go in all kinds of different directions at any point. Um, so but hopefully, yeah, we're getting there, and it'll be fun to see how it develops as you go along. But
yeah,
like I said, like we figured out, it's like we've got the stuff in the right order. So maybe it's in the writing, and that's it.
yeah,
Just got to be writing. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else before we finish up?
No, no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, bring some more questions
Okay,
next time as we go. All
okay.
right. And I will sing us out here. So, all right, Writing Rabble, thanks for joining us today. We're along the trip with Russ up and over the story hill as he sort of reforms the story, the urban fantasy that he's got going so far. Definitely making progress. We figure that we've got all the parts. It's a matter of getting them in the right place. But like we were just saying, that maybe only through writing and getting the story going that some of these things reveal themselves. And that's kind of how things work sometimes. As we, when we want to figure out a story, sometimes we have to just get on and go for a ride. So, remember that if you are enjoying the content, please like the video. Also, subscribe. That helps me grow the channel. And share with anybody, any writers who might be interested as well. Until next time, writing Rabble, butt in chair, words on page. Bye now.